I never expected my Tuesday morning cleaning session to turn into the most shocking discovery of my life. I was casually moving around some furniture, trying to distract myself from work, when I noticed something strange beneath the coffee table and a creak in the floorboard. It wasn't just a simple squeak, it was a deep, hollow sound. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and tell us where you are listening. Your support means everything. At first, I brushed it off, thinking it was just old house creaks. But the more I looked at it, the more I couldn't ignore it. There was something off. Without a second thought, I grabbed a flashlight and knelt down for a closer look. What I found sent a chill down my spine. A small metal latch was embedded in the wood floor. It was barely noticeable unless you were actively looking for it. My fingers tingled as I reached for the latch, my mind already racing with possibilities. Had the previous owners hidden something under the house? Or was it some kind of forgotten access point? I didn't know, but I had to find out. With a quiet click, I pulled at the latch. To my surprise, the floorboard didn't just lift, it opened into a narrow, dark passageway that stretched downward. I stood there, frozen, staring at the tunnel beneath my house. I could hardly breathe. Was this some kind of joke? My mind raced through every possibility, from plumbing work to hidden foundations, but something about it felt different, like I had uncovered something far bigger. For the next few minutes, I stood frozen, unsure of what to do. I didn't want to immediately assume the worst, but this was beyond odd. I grabbed my phone and took several photos of the latch and the tunnel, even recording a short video for proof. I was cautious, trying not to disturb anything. After a few minutes of hesitation, I decided to call the local authorities just to be safe. I knew I couldn't tackle this alone, but before I could make the call, I stopped myself. This didn't feel like a simple case of home repairs gone wrong. No. There was something deliberate about this, something planned. So I did what any curious homeowner would do. I waited. I decided to attend the next HOA meeting. After all, the HOA Homeowners Association had always been in charge of the neighborhood's maintenance, and if this was some sort of community project, they would know about it, right? The HOA meeting was scheduled for that week, and I showed up, prepared to confront them. When I walked into the room, the usual faces greeted me. Karen, the head of the HOA, greeted me with her usual cold politeness, though I could sense an underlying tension. Something wasn't right. I waited my turn to speak, my heart pounding in my chest. As the meeting began, I stood up and calmly presented the evidence: photos of the latch, the video of the tunnel, and the records I had pulled from the property office. I couldn't hide the frustration in my voice as I spoke. Does anyone here know about this, a tunnel beneath my house? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. The room went dead silent. I could see the other board members exchanging nervous glances. Karen's face turned pale. I watched her swallow hard before she spoke up. That's unexpected, she stammered, her usual confidence wavering. We don't have any records of this. Really? I shot back, because I have documents from the last few months showing that the HOA had requested underground infrastructure maintenance. Does anyone want to explain what's been happening underneath our homes? The room was uncomfortable, and the looks on the board members' faces told me everything I needed to know. This wasn't just a maintenance issue. This was something far more sinister. One of the quieter members, Steve, nervously cleared his throat. Maybe it's just a mistake. Could be some old plumbing work, right? But I wasn't buying it. Old plumbing work under my house, with no notice to me as a homeowner, I said, my voice rising. I've lived here for years. This is no accident. Something's going on here. That was when Karen's mask cracked. She hesitated, and for the first time, she looked directly at me. Guilt written all over her face. Okay, fine. You're right, she said, her voice trembling slightly. It's not just plumbing. We've been doing some work underground. I leaned forward, desperate to know more. What kind of work? What exactly have you been doing under my house? Karen exhaled, glancing nervously around the room. It started small. We wanted to make sure we had the ability to conduct maintenance more efficiently, access to pipes, wiring, that sort of thing. But it grew into something else, I repeated. Confused. She nodded, and in that moment, the truth came spilling out. It wasn't just maintenance. The HOA had been constructing an underground network beneath the neighborhood tunnels that could be used for all sorts of things. The HOA had planned to use them for surveillance, accessing people's homes without consent, and possibly even secretly monitoring residents. Surveillance? I asked incredulously. You're spying on us? Karen looked away, ashamed. It wasn't supposed to be like this. We thought we could make it all more efficient, keep an eye on things. We wanted to ensure safety by violating everyone's privacy. I interrupted. You've been digging tunnels under people's homes without telling them, without asking for permission. Look, it wasn't malicious. We just wanted to make things easier for everyone. Karen stammered, her voice faltering, but it was too late. The damage had already been done. The HOA had been secretly gathering information on everyone. They'd been monitoring residents, going through their private information, and creating a system that allowed them to access homes without anyone's knowledge. As the truth unraveled, I realized the gravity of the situation. The HOA had violated the trust of every homeowner, not just in my neighborhood, but across the entire community. The authorities launched an investigation, and the news spread quickly. Soon, more and more residents came forward with their own suspicions, sharing their experiences with unexplained events, strange outages, and mysterious workers appearing at odd times. The HOA's days were numbered. Karen and the board members were removed from their positions, and the organization was disbanded. The community was in shock, and I, the unassuming homeowner, had exposed their hidden agenda. But the twist, it wasn't over yet. As I dug deeper into the investigation, I discovered that Karen had been working with outside investors to profit off the neighborhood. They were gathering information to manipulate property values and buy up homes at a fraction of their worth. The HOA wasn't just a neighborhood association, it was a front for a much bigger illegal operation. In the aftermath, I didn't just sit back and watch. I worked with local authorities to ensure the truth came out, and in the end, I was offered a seat on the newly formed community board, tasked with overseeing neighborhood developments. But the real victory wasn't the position, it was knowing I had stood up for what was right. The HOA scheme had been exposed, and I had been the one to bring it to light. My quiet, routine cleaning session had turned into a battle for justice, and in the end, I came out on top. I could have walked away, let the system stay broken, but I chose to fight. And in doing so, I helped create a community built on transparency, trust, and respect for one another. The HOA may have thought they could control us, but they underestimated the power of one determined homeowner.